The only mind that wins is the one that refuses to quit. Think about that for a second. In a world where most people stop at the first sign of pressure, the real edge isn't talent, luck, or background, it's mental endurance. It's your ability to keep going when most would walk away. The truth is, your mind either works for you or against you, and if you don't train it, it will stop you every time. This audiobook isn't full of hype. It's not about motivation that fades in a few hours. This is about rewiring your thinking step by step to build a mindset that does not give up, no matter what life throws your way. You'll learn how to take control of your inner dialogue, reset your focus when you're overwhelmed, and stay grounded when emotions try to take over. If you're tired of stopping halfway, if you're ready to become the kind of person who finishes what they start, this is where it begins. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to train your mind. And this time, never give up. Chapter 1. Teach your mind to stay strong under stress. You know, one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn in life is how to stay strong when life starts pressing you down. When the bills are piling up, when the people you trusted disappoint you, when the results you've been waiting for still haven't shown up, that's when the real training begins. You see, anyone can stay calm and confident when things are going their way, but true strength, real mental strength, shows up when everything around you seems to fall apart. That's when you learn who you really are. The human mind is powerful. It can create dreams, it can solve problems, and it can also destroy confidence if you don't learn how to control it. Most people think that mental strength is something you're born with. It's not. It's trained, just like a muscle. You build it every day through choices, through focus, and through how you respond to pressure. When stress hits, your mind has two paths. It can either panic, or it can stay calm and find a solution. And that choice, my friend, depends on how you've trained it. You see, stress doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to reveal your strength. It's a test, not a punishment. Life will not protect you from difficulty because it knows that only through difficulty do you grow. Think about it. Every strong person you admire today has been through something that nearly broke them. But what made them different is that they didn't let the storm control their thoughts. They decided that they would not give their power to fear, to panic, or to stress. They trained their mind to stay calm in the chaos. Staying strong under stress starts with awareness. You have to notice what your mind does when problems come. Do you immediately think of what could go wrong? Do you start imagining the worst? That's the mind running wild without direction. You have to stop and take control. Say to yourself, I decide how I will think. I decide how I will feel. Because if you don't decide, your emotions will decide for you, and emotions without discipline can destroy progress in seconds. The first step to training your mind under stress is to slow down your reaction. Most people react fast. They get angry fast, scared fast, discouraged fast. But the person who stays calm under stress understands that nothing good comes from a quick reaction. Breathe, think, respond. Don't let the first wave of fear make your decisions. Fear clouds your thinking, and when you act out of fear, you usually make things worse. Train yourself to pause before you speak, before you respond, before you give in to frustration. That pause is power. It gives your logical mind time to guide you, instead of letting emotion take over. The second step is to remind yourself of perspective. When you're under stress, your mind makes the problem look bigger than it is. You start to believe that this moment defines everything, but it doesn't. Nothing lasts forever, not pain, not struggle, not stress. You have to tell yourself the truth. This is temporary. The discomfort you feel right now is shaping you. Every time you handle stress without losing yourself, you become stronger. Every time you calm your thoughts and focus on what you can control, you build confidence that cannot be shaken. Another important part of mental training is routine. You can't wait for a crisis to practice strength. You build it daily through simple habits. Wake up early, take care of your body, read, plan your day, speak kindly to yourself. These may seem small, but they shape how your mind performs when pressure comes. If your daily life is filled with disorder, stress will hit harder. But when you live with structure, stress becomes easier to handle because your mind is trained to focus and not collapse. When you feel overwhelmed, remember to break things down. Stress often comes from feeling like everything must be solved right now. But life doesn't work that way. You don't climb a mountain in one jump. You take one step at a time. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to make this situation better? That small question shifts your focus from panic to action. Action is the cure for stress. Even the smallest progress will calm your mind because movement creates confidence. You also have to watch what you feed your mind. The people you talk to, the content you consume, the words you repeat, all of it shapes how your mind handles stress. If you're always listening to negativity, gossip, or hopeless talk, you're weakening your mental defenses. You need to feed your mind strength. Read stories of people who overcame. Listen to voices that remind you that you can rise above. Speak words that empower you, not ones that tear you down. Your environment has a silent influence on your resilience. One of the greatest ways to strengthen your mind under stress is to focus on gratitude. It may sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have. When you're stressed, your mind looks for what's wrong. Gratitude reminds it of what's still right. It doesn't remove the problem, but it gives you strength to face it. Every morning, think of 3 things you're thankful for. It shifts your focus from worry to possibility. A grateful heart is a strong heart because it can find peace even in pressure. Self-talk also matters. What you say to yourself in stressful times shapes your reality. If you keep saying, "I can't handle this," your brain believes it and starts shutting down your options. But if you tell yourself, "I will find a way," your brain starts searching for solutions. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about directing your focus toward possibility instead of defeat. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker who chooses them. Many people crumble under stress because they've never learned to be comfortable with discomfort. But growth and comfort never live in the same place. When stress comes, most people run. But those who stay, those who endure, they become unbreakable. You need to train yourself to stay in that discomfort a little longer. When you feel pressure, breathe through it. Don't escape it with distractions or complaints. Sit with it. Ask yourself what this moment is trying to teach you. Every stressful moment carries a lesson: patience, endurance, clarity, humility. Find the lesson and you'll find peace. It's also important to take care of your body because your mind depends on it. When you're tired, hungry, or neglecting your health, stress multiplies. Physical weakness amplifies mental weakness. Move your body. Eat clean. Get enough sleep. When your body is strong, your mind becomes sharper and calmer. You cannot build a powerful mindset while treating your body poorly. They are connected. When one breaks, the other suffers. Another truth about stress is that it exposes your priorities. When pressure comes, it reveals what truly matters to you. Use that awareness. If you're stressing over things that won't matter in a year, learn to let them go. You can't fight every battle. Save your energy for what really matters: your growth, your peace, your purpose. Train your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. When something goes wrong, instead of saying, "Why me?" start asking, "What now?" That small shift changes your entire approach to life. You stop feeling like a victim and start acting like a creator. Stress loses its grip when you start taking responsibility. You realize that even if you didn't choose the situation, you can choose your response. And that's where your freedom lives, in your response. Mental strength isn't about never feeling stress. It's about how quickly you recover. You may feel scared, tired, or unsure, but you don't stay there. You get back up, you refocus, and you move forward. That's what separates strong minds from weak ones: recovery. Strong minds bounce back fast because they understand that stress is just part of the journey, not the end of it. So train your mind daily. Start with small things. When you feel frustrated in traffic, stay calm. When you get criticized, listen without reacting. When you face delays, remind yourself that patience builds power. Each time you do this, you're building mental muscles. It's not about being perfect, it's about getting better each time. One day, you'll look back and realize that the things that once broke you no longer have the same power. You'll still face challenges, but you'll stand taller. You'll breathe easier. You'll think clearer. That's what training your mind does. It doesn't remove the storm. It makes you stronger inside it. Remember, life will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it if you learn to stay strong. Stress will visit again, but next time you'll be ready. You'll see it differently, not as a wall, but as a doorway to growth. You'll say to yourself, "I've been here before. I've trained for this." And that confidence will carry you through anything. Every day, you have the choice to react or to rise. Choose to rise. Choose strength over panic, patience over anger, focus over fear. That's how you train your mind to never give up, by staying strong under stress, again and again, until it becomes who you are. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary. Not by avoiding the pressure, but by learning to stand tall when it comes. That's the training. That's the journey. And that's how you build a mind that will never give up. Chapter 2. Build inner discipline that outlasts every excuse. Discipline is the foundation of every great life. It's not luck, not talent, not intelligence. It's discipline. The ability to do what you said you would do long after the excitement of starting has faded. Most people don't fail because they don't have goals. They fail because they can't stay consistent with the small things that build those goals. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about structure. It's about having control over your own actions instead of being controlled by comfort, laziness, or emotion. Building inner discipline means deciding that you will no longer let your feelings decide your future. It's waking up even when you don't feel like it. It's keeping your word even when no one is watching. It's doing the right thing for your growth even when it's hard. That's how real progress is made. People often ask how to stay motivated, but motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. It's what carries you when motivation disappears. The person who builds discipline doesn't need to feel like doing something. They simply do it because it's part of who they are. Every excuse your mind creates is built on comfort. It's built on avoiding temporary pain. The truth is, every excuse sounds reasonable at first. I'm tired. It's not the right time. I'll start tomorrow. But each time you choose that excuse, you weaken your will. You teach your mind that it's okay to give up on yourself. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Discipline is built in those tiny moments where you decide to act despite every reason not to. It's not about being perfect. It's about refusing to quit on the process. Discipline begins with clarity. You can't stay consistent if you don't know why you're doing something. You need a strong reason that anchors you when you feel like stopping. If you're just chasing a goal because it looks good, or because someone else wants it for you, you'll quit. But when your reason is personal, when it connects to who you want to become, you'll endure. So ask yourself, why do I want this? And who will I become if I don't follow through? The answers to those questions will drive you more than any outside motivation. The next step in building discipline is mastering your time. Time is your greatest resource, and discipline is how you protect it. Every minute you waste on distractions steals from your goals. To build inner discipline, you need structure in your day. Plan your mornings, decide how you'll spend your evenings. Have a schedule that supports your growth instead of feeding your comfort. People who rely on willpower alone eventually fail, but people who build systems around their habits succeed. When your days have structure, you don't depend on how you feel. You simply follow your plan. Discipline also grows stronger when you remove temptation. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. If you're surrounded by distractions, you'll struggle to stay focused. Clean your space. Limit your time on things that drain your energy. If you want to eat better, don't keep junk food in the house. If you want to focus more, turn off notifications. The mind follows the path of least resistance, so make discipline easier by making distraction harder. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your environment. A disciplined mind also knows the power of saying no. You can't say yes to everything and expect to grow. Every yes is a trade. You trade your time, your focus, your energy. Say no to anything that doesn't move you closer to your purpose. You don't owe explanations for protecting your focus. The people who reach their goals are not the busiest, they are the most selective. They know what matters and they guard it. Learn to say no without guilt, because every yes to distraction is a no to your dreams. Another way to build discipline is by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you make a commitment and follow through, you strengthen your self-respect. Every time you break it, you weaken your trust in yourself. If you tell yourself you'll wake up early, then do it. If you say you'll finish that task today, finish it. Start small if you must, but mean what you say. Self-discipline grows through self-trust, and self-trust grows through consistency. When you honor your word, your confidence grows. You begin to see yourself as capable, reliable, and in control. That's power. Discipline is also about delayed gratification, the ability to wait for results, to do the work without demanding instant reward. Most people quit too early because they don't see progress fast enough. They forget that growth takes time. The disciplined mind keeps going even when nothing seems to be working because it knows that every effort counts. The results are coming, but only for those who keep showing up. If you can be patient in the waiting, you will achieve what most people never do. Sometimes discipline means doing the boring things. Repetition builds mastery. It's not glamorous, but it's necessary. You don't become great by doing something once. You become great by doing it again and again until it becomes natural. It's not exciting to practice the same thing daily, but that's what separates winners from the rest. The disciplined person focuses on the process, not the excitement. They understand that progress often feels slow, but consistency always compounds. You also need to manage your self-talk when building discipline. Your mind will try to convince you to stop, to rest, to delay. It will tell you that you've done enough or that it's too hard. You must be stronger than that voice. Talk to yourself with firmness, not pity. Tell yourself the truth, not excuses. You don't need to be harsh, but you do need to be honest. If you keep feeding your mind with weakness, it will act weak. But if you speak strength, it will respond with power. Discipline is not about control from the outside. It's about control from within. It's the quiet decision that you are responsible for your future. No one is coming to push you. No one is going to make you consistent. You have to become your own coach, your own leader. That means doing the work even when nobody claps. That means sticking to your standards even when it's unpopular. When you do that, something changes inside you. You begin to respect yourself more deeply. The hardest part of building discipline is staying consistent when progress is invisible. You wake up early, work hard, and still don't see results. That's when most people stop. But this is where discipline shows its true value. Discipline says, keep going, it's working, even if you can't see it yet. Every action you take is a seed, and discipline is the water that helps it grow. You may not see it sprout today, but it's growing beneath the surface. The disciplined person understands that patience is part of success. One of the biggest enemies of discipline is comparison. When you keep looking at others, you lose focus on your own journey. Discipline means staying centered on your own growth. Your timeline is yours. Comparing your chapter to someone else's story will only breed frustration. Focus on improving from where you were yesterday, not where someone else is today. Discipline thrives in self-awareness, not in competition. To build lasting discipline, you must also learn how to rest wisely. Rest is not laziness, it's part of balance. But the difference between rest and distraction is intention. Rest to recover, not to escape. When you use rest to recharge your energy, you return stronger. When you use it to avoid your responsibilities, it weakens your discipline. Listen to your body and mind, give them time to recover, but don't lose your rhythm. Even rest should serve your purpose. Discipline grows through accountability. Share your goals with someone who pushes you to stay consistent. It's easy to quit in silence, but harder to quit when someone expects your best. Choose people who challenge you, not those who make excuses with you. The right environment pushes your standards higher. When you're surrounded by disciplined people, you naturally rise to meet that energy. You'll also need to accept discomfort as part of discipline. Growth always asks for a price. It demands effort, sacrifice, and persistence. But the pain of discipline is temporary, while the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Choose the short-term struggle over long-term disappointment. Every time you push through discomfort, you train your mind to be stronger. You prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Remember that discipline is freedom in disguise. People think discipline limits them, but it actually liberates them. When you live with discipline, you're not a slave to impulse. You don't waste time on meaningless things. You create space for what truly matters. Discipline gives you control over your choices, your time, and your direction. It makes your life intentional. It turns chaos into order, confusion into clarity. Inner discipline is also tied to self-respect. When you stop breaking promises to yourself, you start feeling proud of who you are. You stop needing validation from others because you know you're doing what needs to be done. That quiet confidence builds peace. You start to feel stronger inside, not because life got easier, but because you became more consistent. To make discipline last, attach it to identity, not just goals. Don't just say, I want to get fit. Say, I am someone who takes care of my body. Don't say, I want to save money. Say, I am someone who respects my finances. When discipline becomes who you are, instead of what you do, you don't have to force it anymore. It becomes automatic. When you build inner discipline that outlasts every excuse, you transform from being driven by emotion to being driven by purpose. You stop depending on perfect conditions and start creating your own. You become the kind of person who does the work even when it's raining, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard. That's when you become unstoppable. Life will always give you reasons to stop. There will always be something that tries to pull you away from your goals. But the disciplined person keeps moving forward, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. They know that every day of consistency builds strength, and every excuse takes it away. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, that bridge gets stronger. You may not see the change immediately, but one day you'll look back and realize that every moment you stayed consistent, every time you resisted an excuse, every small action you repeated, it all added up. That's how you build inner discipline that outlasts every excuse, by choosing growth over comfort, structure over chaos, and consistency over emotion. By doing what needs to be done, not once, but every day. That's how you take full control of your life, your habits, and your future. Because discipline doesn't just build success, it builds the person capable of sustaining it.
Chapter 3. Reprogram negative thoughts into powerful beliefs. Your thoughts shape everything about your life. The way you think determines how you act, how you feel, and how far you go. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, your life will reflect that. But if your thoughts are built on belief, confidence, and purpose, you start moving differently. You walk stronger, you speak with more certainty, you handle life with more control. Most people don't realize that their biggest enemy isn't outside of them, it's the voice inside their head that keeps telling them they can't. Reprogramming negative thoughts into powerful beliefs isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about taking control of the stories you tell yourself every single day. Every thought is a seed, and your mind is the soil. Whatever you plant grows. If you keep planting worry and self-doubt, you'll keep living with fear and hesitation. But if you start planting faith and courage, you'll begin to live with power and direction. Your mind listens to what you repeat. It doesn't know what's true or false. It simply believes what you feed it most often. That's why you must take responsibility for your inner dialogue. You can't think negative thoughts all day and expect a positive life. Change begins in the mind, not in the world around you. Most negative thinking starts quietly. It hides behind excuses like I'm just being realistic, or I'm protecting myself from disappointment. But in truth, these are just forms of fear. They protect your comfort zone, not your potential. Every time you say you can't do something, you're giving that thought power. You're programming your mind to stop trying. To reprogram your thoughts, you must first catch yourself when negativity starts to speak. Awareness is the first step to change. The moment you notice that inner voice of doubt, pause and question it. Ask, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, it's not truth, it's just fear, pretending to be logic. The human brain has a natural bias toward negativity because it's designed to protect you. It looks for danger, for mistakes, for what might go wrong. That's how it keeps you safe. But in modern life, that same instinct works against you. It keeps you from taking risks, from trying new things, from believing in yourself. Reprogramming your thoughts means training your brain to see opportunity instead of threat. You can't turn off fear, but you can teach your mind to focus on growth instead of failure. Start by changing your language. The words you use shape your mindset. When you say, I can't, you close the door to possibility. Replace it with, I'm learning, or I'll figure it out. Those words don't deny difficulty. They build confidence. When you say, this is too hard, change it to this will take effort, but I can handle it. The difference may seem small, but it's everything. Over time, your brain begins to form new patterns. It learns to see challenge as something to rise to, not something to avoid. Your thoughts are habits, and like any habit, they can be changed through repetition. You can't reprogram your mind by thinking positively once. You do it by choosing empowering thoughts over and over, until they become automatic. Each time you catch yourself thinking negatively and replace it with a constructive thought, you're rewiring your brain. It's mental training, and it takes time, but eventually what once felt forced becomes natural. Beliefs are just repeated thoughts accepted as truth. If you've told yourself for years that you're not good enough, your brain has accepted that as reality. To change that, you have to replace it with new evidence. Start proving your old thoughts wrong through action. If you think you're not confident, start speaking up in small ways. If you think you're not capable, start taking on small challenges and finishing them. Each success, no matter how small, becomes proof that the old belief is false. Over time, those new experiences reshape how you see yourself. One of the most powerful exercises to reprogram your mind is self-reflection. Take a moment each day to notice what thoughts keep repeating. Are they thoughts of doubt, worry, or fear? Or are they thoughts of growth, confidence, and gratitude? You can't change what you don't notice. Write down the thoughts that hold you back, then challenge them with truth. For example, if your mind says, "I'll never succeed," write down every small success you've had before. If your mind says, "I'm not good enough," remind yourself of the progress you've already made. Your brain believes what you show it consistently. You must also learn to separate yourself from your thoughts. Just because a negative thought appears doesn't mean it's true. Thoughts are like visitors. They come and go. You don't have to entertain all of them. You can watch them pass without acting on them. This is where emotional control begins. When you stop reacting to every negative thought, you weaken its power. The more you observe your thoughts without judgment, the more freedom you gain over your mind. Affirmations can also help you reshape your thinking, but they have to be believable and consistent. Don't tell yourself things you don't believe. Instead, create statements that reflect the person you are becoming. Say things like, "I am learning to trust myself," or "I am becoming stronger each day." Speak them daily with conviction. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition and emotion. The more you feel the truth in your words, the faster your beliefs change. Your mental environment matters too. Surround yourself with people who think positively and live with purpose. Energy is contagious. If you're always around negativity, it becomes harder to change your thoughts. Choose conversations that uplift you. Listen to people who talk about solutions, not problems. Read books that build your mindset. Watch content that motivates you. Everything you allow into your mind is programming it in some way. Be intentional about what you consume. Another powerful step in reprogramming negative thoughts is gratitude. When you focus on what's missing, your mind lives in lack. When you focus on what's good, your mind lives in abundance. Gratitude shifts your perspective from scarcity to strength. It reminds you that you already have more than you often realize. Make it a daily habit to list things you're thankful for, even small ones. Over time, your brain begins to notice more good than bad. That shift alone can change your entire outlook. Visualization is another tool for rewiring your thoughts. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined when emotion is involved. If you consistently visualize yourself succeeding, handling pressure, and living with confidence, your brain starts preparing for that reality. It builds neural pathways aligned with your vision. You begin to think, act, and feel like the person you're visualizing. The more vividly you imagine your goals, the more natural they become. Sometimes negative thinking comes from past experiences. Pain, rejection, and failure leave emotional scars that shape how you see yourself. To move forward, you must forgive those moments, not because they were okay, but because holding on to them keeps your mind trapped in the past. Forgiveness frees your focus. It allows your energy to move toward what you can change instead of what you can't. You can't rewrite your past, but you can rewrite the meaning you give it. It's also important to challenge perfectionism. Many negative thoughts come from unrealistic standards. You think you should always be doing more, always be better, always be in control. But life doesn't work like that. Progress is messy. Growth is imperfect. You have to learn to celebrate effort, not just outcome. When you allow yourself to make mistakes without judgment, your thoughts become lighter. You start focusing on learning instead of criticizing yourself. Reprogramming your thoughts is not about ignoring negative, it's about transforming it. When you face a negative thought, use it as a signal that something needs attention. For example, if you're constantly thinking, "I'm not prepared," maybe that's your cue to plan better. If you're thinking, "I always fail," maybe that's a reminder to adjust your strategy, not your worth. Negative thoughts can serve as feedback when you learn to interpret them correctly. Your self-image is built from the thoughts you repeat. If you want to believe you're confident, capable, and worthy, start acting like it before you fully believe it. Behavior shapes belief. The more you act in alignment with the person you want to become, the faster your mind accepts it as truth. Take small actions that represent your future self. Set with confidence. Stand tall. Keep promises. Over time, your mind begins to match your actions. You'll notice that as you practice this, old thought patterns will try to return. That's normal. The brain is wired to take the familiar path. Don't get discouraged when old doubts appear. Instead, remind yourself that every time you respond differently, you're creating a new pathway in your brain. Eventually, those old thoughts will lose their grip. Another important step is to stop predicting failure before it happens. Most negative thinkers live in the future, worrying about what might go wrong. They suffer twice, once in imagination and once in reality. Start training your mind to stay in the present. Handle what's in front of you now. When the future comes, you'll handle it with the strength you've built. Worrying doesn't prepare you, it weakens you. Preparation and panic are not the same. Your beliefs set the limits of your potential. If you believe you can improve, you will. If you believe you're stuck, you are. That's why you must protect your beliefs like a treasure. They determine how high you climb, how far you reach, and how much peace you live with. Every great change starts with the belief that it's possible. Reprogramming your mind takes patience. You won't erase years of negative thinking overnight, but every day you practice awareness, gratitude, and self-belief, you get stronger. You'll start to notice that problems don't control you as they once did. You'll catch yourself being calm in situations that used to break you. You'll start to think in ways that move you forward instead of holding you back. That's progress. In time, your thoughts become your allies instead of your enemies.